So here's another update on my 2006 Chevy Impala SS restoration project. You can see here I've got this unitized chassis is substantially tore apart, to the point of almost horrifying here. But anyway, yeah, that rocker panel is completely dismantled inside and out, and wheel tubs are completely dismantled, and we got one subframe, rear subframe removed there, and still have not removed the right hand side. Basically working on the left hand side right now. And just brought home some new parts, so let's have a look at what I got here. Some brand new replacement GM stampings. How do you like that? So anyway, here's a rundown of stampings I have pulled out. These are the left side and the right side outer halves of the wheel tubs, and these are their respective inner halves, wheel tub halves. They've been deconstructed. These reinforcement pieces are spot welded to each of them. These here basically make the shock tower where you mount the McPherson strut at the top there. Provides all that reinforcement. These reinforcements, they basically tie it in at the bottom. They tie it to the floor pan and they tie it into this cross member. And sadly, I can't get this cross member from GM. Not available, discontinued. I'm not going to be able to save that. I think I'm going to have to reproduce that. I'm just going to have to make something from scratch. This is not real complicated though. This is the rear web piece, they call this. I'm going to save that. This stamping is in fine shape here. This is for the rear seat mount. I'm going to save that. So here's a pair of brand new GM stampings for the wheel tub, and as you can see, they come assembled with all of these reinforcements. All these reinforcements are spot welded on. I might deconstruct those, coat everything on the inside. Okay, and I can show you why too. When you look at this rust on the inside here, that's because the factory primer dip basically did not get in there. Okay, there's places where the primer dip did get in, but there's places where it missed, and where that primer dip missed, that's where the rust wants to go. And this thing is still solid. I could save this if I had to save it. I could save that easily. I could save this too, but look at all that rust inside of there. And that rust happens because when they dip these things, because when you look at these here, these have been dipped as an assembly. And when, back in here, that primer dip, it doesn't get in there like it's supposed to get in there. They do the best they can with it, and that's how it is. So this is spot welded together, then they dip it. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to deconstruct this thing, and I want to coat all of these pieces inside and out, and then re-spot weld it. And then the only places where primer and it won't be a primer, it'll be a very rugged coating. That's another thing. This primer is piss thin. You really don't get any protection out of this. These are going to be coated with something much, much more durable than what you have now. So anyway, that's why I'm thinking I'm probably going to deconstruct these, coat them inside and out, weld them back together. And what'll happen is you'll have a little burn where that is welded together. The coating will burn, but there'll just be a burn ring around it, very, very limited. And then also I can actually try to squirt something liquid in there, something runny, and make it run down in there and make it, try to get that little burn spot in there, but it'll be much more well protected inside and out. So I got plans for those. So those are my brand new inner tub stampings. Now I've been told there's a pretty good chance I can get the outer tub stampings. I don't have them yet. It just all depends. Okay, but those might be coming. Keep your fingers crossed. I might get stampings for the outer tubs. If I can't, I'm going to have to fix these. I'm going to have to patch this up here. you know, and like this one here, that would need to be patched up. And this is another place where something was spot welded and the dip just didn't get in there. And this rusted out from the inside. This is not from the outside. This is from the inside. You don't even see this until you strip the interior out of the car. The back seat and everything's got to all be out. And then you find this stuff. And that's because that primer dip, there's a piece that spot welds to here. And that primer dip, when they dunked the whole darn thing, just didn't get in there. And, that's how that story goes. So here. This is a rear subframe. This is the one I took out that is on the right hand side, and this detail I separated. This detail here basically makes the mounting point for the rear horizontal, or I mean longitudinal control arm, one on each side, and so that's actually included. Here's a brand new GM stamping, and this is for the opposite side. So this one here, this old one is the left hand side, this new one is for the right hand side, and I have the other side coming too. It's on the way. It's confirmed. It's coming. It'll be here in a few days. This is the one so right now they sent me 3 stampings. They sent me both of those front. These are the front sub rails, both sides. And I have the rear one side, the other side's coming. They told me, don't worry, it's on the way. And this is great. This thing here, this is gold. The fact that I could get this, okay? And this is all going to get deconstructed. I'm going to pull this apart, and it's going to get coated inside and out 7 ways to Sunday with very rugged coatings. I am not going to install it with this piss-thin dip primer on there. Forget it, pal. It's going to be better than new. So anyways, there's your mounting point for that control arm pivot bracket there, and that makes your rear subframe, and it goes all the way out to the bumper bar flange here, real nice. They don't give you the flanges. Okay, here's the fronts here. They go all the way out to here. Okay, and there's your flange, but they don't give you the flange. But my flanges are fine. They're solid. I can take those flanges off and spot weld those on there. There's no big deal at all. And so, and I have I got a little bit of rust under there with that subframe rail. So the fact that I can just pull that off of there and throw it in the scrap pile and forget about it. And so, here's the other side here. This subframe rail, that's even in worse shape. I don't have a light handy. Let me see if I can get me a light here. So yeah, that's what that subframe rail looks like. Okay, and I could repair it if I had to, and it goes under here, and there's some other things attached to it, but yeah, that's all coming out, and it's just going on the scrap pile because I got brand new. No worries. So anyways, yeah, like I say, these are all going to get deconstructed and coated inside and out with some very rugged, durable coatings that I've already talked about in other videos. And yeah, my GM parts guy, my connection, he told me he's surprised that these things are even available. So it's a pretty lucky break for me. This is a 17-year-old car, and yeah, GM is just not in the habit of making things for, at this level, down to unibody subframe stampings. But here they are, brand new from GM. And here's the other thing. These are what they call, he says, these are called STO, which stands for stamp to order, which means they are not made until you order them. So these are not in stock. These were just made. What happens is you make the order, and GM decides if they got the tooling and they're willing to make it, they'll crank you one out. So there you go. I ordered these, they made them, and they came in a couple of weeks, and they got me, that came, and another one's coming soon, and those tubs are coming. I might be able to get the outer tubs, and they're not coming, they're here, and I might be able to get the inner tubs and some other situations here, man. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed about this inner rocker. Okay, this is the left-hand side. This is the inner rocker panel, and it's junk. You can forget about it. That's the inside. And anyways, I don't know if I can get this. It's not looking good. My parts connection is looking into it and seeing if he can pull some strings and get them to make one of these for me. That'd be great, you know. If they can't, then I'm gonna have to recreate this, and yeah, that'll probably be the most effort with these contours and everything like that. But you know, you got to do what you got to do, because I've dug into it this far. There's no return, man. I'm going in, okay, and you know, I'll cook something up. You better believe it. But I'd rather just get one of these new, and this is the reinforcement that goes on the inside, and what this does is this goes inside of the rocker panel. It's a built-up structure. This thing is built up out of about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 stampings, and I took it all out in one piece. And basically, what this does is it forms a reinforcement bar. This is the front, and this is the rear end of it. And actually, yeah, that's the rear end of it. And, you know, this is the front of this inner piece. This is the part that actually, you know, the interior, the carpet and everything rests on this, on the inside of the rocker panel. And there's about 16 inches of this that's gone. This is the rear of it. This is where it mates up. It basically goes over to where the wheel tubs are, and it ties into that to the front end of that rear subframe. But the part that's gone is all straight. It's just straight and rectangular, and it could easily, you could fabricate something, and that's not a big deal. But yeah, this thing is junk, and I might be able to get this, but I don't need it. I'd rather just do something. I'm thinking about just putting a piece of square structural tubing in there or something, and adapting that. And that's all this is for, is strength. And you know, this is a complicated mess. GM did what they did with all these stampings, and you know, the way I'm looking at it is I don't want this unless I can get this too, because this is made to mate to that. And if I have to cook something up that approximates this, it ain't going to be exactly, you know, so it's not going to mate to that, and I'll have to just approximate this too, which means I don't want this unless I can get that. I don't know if I can get that. I got a guy looking into it for me. So, and then this detail piece right here, that goes right there. Okay, so, and that basically forms a web that crosses over, and you know, it ties from the bottom of the subframe rail over to the pinch weld right here for the rocker panel. And so yeah, that's that piece right there. That's what I ended up with, and it's junk, and I can't get that, so I will have to approximate that and slap it on there. But it's just a piece of sheet metal. I can cut that shape out and bend it up and hammer it in there. It doesn't have to look exactly like that. It does not need those slots. That's just there for production reasons and all the rest of that stuff. And yeah, so, and this is a piece of junk here. What this came from is this section of the floor right here. I cut that out of there. That's a hunk of junk, and that I'll have to fabricate. That's easy. All I got to do is cut a piece of sheet metal and bend it into an L. And you got to make a little hump piece to go over the tunnel hump. That's a separate piece too. That's it right there, laying down there. It's a piece of junk, and I can make that easily enough. So, and you know, there's that inner rocker panel piece still intact on the right hand side, and what I'm doing is I'm leaving one side intact while I tear apart the other side, so I've got reference, so I can see, you know, as I piece this stuff back together, where everything's got to go. So, okay, that's the update for now. Thanks for watching. So long.